In this video, we're going to take a look at how to crochet a circle of any size. Stay with me and I'll show you how. To start off, we need to make a magic ring. We take our yarn in our left hand, laying our tail yarn over our fingers. We wrap the yarn around the back. I wrap it around the top 3 fingers. We bring it around the front, making an X with the tail yarn underneath and the working yarn on top. And we bring it around the back, and we keep hold of both tail and working thread. Turn our hand over, and we should have 2 loops on our fingers. We take our hook, and we go under the outer loop. We grab hold of the inner loop and pull it under the first loop. We twist our hook and we should have a loop in our hook that looks like this. We then come back under that inner loop and we grab that yarn and pull it through the loop on the hook. And if you've done this right, if you pull on the working yarn, it'll pull the slip knot tighter, and if you pull on the tail yarn, it will pull the ring tighter. Now we're ready to start crocheting our circle. We start by making a chain of 3. This brings our work up to the height of a double crochet. This is called a treble crochet in UK terminology. And into this ring, we're going to make 12 double crochets. This chain of 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we need to make 11 more, making our stitches into the ring, making sure to go over both the tail and the loop of yarn. So now we have our 12 stitches, including that first chain 3 as our first double crochet. Now we take hold of our tail thread and we pull it tight. And you see that's pulled the ring tight and cinched our circle together. And we complete this by making a slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3. And the first round of our circle is complete. Now we chain 3, this counting as our first double crochet, and into that same stitch we make another double crochet. Then we carry on along the row, making 2 double crochets into the top of each stitch. And now we've made 2 double crochets into every stitch. We make a slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3 to complete the round. And to start a new round, we make a chain of 3 to count as our first double crochet. In the second round, we increase by making 2 double crochets in every stitch. In the third round, we're going to increase every other stitch. So this counts as our first double crochet. We're then going to move on to the next stitch and make 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch we make 1 double crochet, and into the next stitch 2 double crochets. And we carry on along the row, making 1 double crochet into 1 stitch and 2 double crochets into 1 stitch all the way along the round. And at the end of the round we make a slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3. And we chain 3, counting as our first double crochet. And in our last round we increased every 2 stitches. Now we're going to increase every 3 stitches. So here's our first stitch, Into the next stitch we make a double crochet, and into the third we make 2 double crochets, and we carry on along the round, making a double crochet into 2 stitches, then 2 double crochets into the third stitch. And at the end of the round we slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. If you want to, you can stop at 4 rounds. That's the perfect size for a coaster. But if you wanted to make a bigger project, for say a tablecloth or a rug, you can just keep going. So remember, in the second round we increased every stitch, then it was every 2 stitches, then every 3. So in the next round it would be every 4, then 5, then 6, and you just keep adding an extra stitch in each round. But if you're working on a larger project, you might not want to count, or you might want to do this while watching TV, in which case you can utilise stitch markers. So here I have a stitch marker in the top of every increased stitch. Each increased stitch is the second of the 2 double crochets that went into 1 stitch. And we just carry on working along our round, beginning with our chain of 3 and making a double crochet into each stitch. Until we get to our stitch marker. We remove our stitch marker, and in that stitch we make 2 double crochets. We then take our stitch marker and we insert it into that stitch we just made. And then we carry along, making a double crochet into each stitch until we come across our next stitch marker. And then when we get to our marker, we remove it and we make 2 double crochets into that stitch. And we then place our marker back into that last stitch we made. And we carry on all the way along the round, making a double crochet into each stitch and making 2 double crochets whenever we reach our marker. And we carry on for however large we want to make our piece. And that's how to crochet a circle of any size.